Let's take a nice deep breath together, knowing that we are light. And as we resonate with that song and allow it to simply rest in our soul, we know that we are here to take a deeper dive into and as the divine. And with a fervent heart, we can ask the question, what is mine to do today? Is it to be here for this service and just take it all in? Am I being called to take this deeper dive? Am I being called to stand in the power and the presence of the one life? Knowing that when I stand in the power and the presence of the one source of all things, that it kicks off a whole new chain, dynamically creating a whole new life that benefits and heals and blesses the world, simply because I am willing to step into that place of love. And we're here, to step into the unknown and to make it known, into the mystery of life, which we can take as no longer a mystery because we know that the divine essence is who we are. That right here and right now, we can restate this. We can stand in the power of this. And we can restore it as our very lives. And that indeed heals the world because we are who we are. And so because of that everlasting truth that we have, standing in the power of that, we can reveal our wholeness, because there is nothing lacking, there is nothing broken, there is nothing that we don't have that already exists as us through this perfection of wholeness and this divine download that we're receiving in this moment, because we are open to that eternality, to that one source of it all. And so the energy connects us, this energy that can never be destroyed, this energy that is who we are, that must find an outlet. And so we choose that outlet to be love this morning. We choose it to be wholeness. We choose it to be exactly who we are, because the truth is we have been friended by the divine by a million emojis and likes. And so we can stand in the power of those little heart emojis going everywhere, because that's who we are. And the divine says, I like you. I like that. I like what you just said, Reverend Sonny. That's good. That is good. Girl, you got it going on. All right. So everything we say, everything that we do, everything that we embody matters. It matters. And we're here to leave that indelible imprint or footprint of love on the world, because love matters and we matter. And so let's make a promise to recognize and consciously covenant with the realization that there really is only one in this place, showing up as many, and that is all we are. As Popeye said, I am what I am, and that's all that I am. Right? Let's say that. I am what I am, and that's all that I am. Right? The one power and presence. So let's just reach in and reach out to everyone with that fierce love that we know exists, that radical decision to lend an ear, to support one another, and, maybe an encouraging word here and there. You are love. You are light. I am light. Our theme this month is nature. I have to say, it's been one of my favorite months. I love talking about nature. And this week we're talking about the idea that we are all naturally divine. And at the beginning of the month, our practitioner, Louise Talon, really kicked off our theme by talking about our oneness with nature and how we are not separate from it. We're not guardians of it. We are it. And she also talked about this fascinating network operating right beneath our feet, the mycelial network, which is comprised of the fungal organisms that live in the soil and is interwoven with tree roots. She also talked about the only thing that separates us from other animals is our ability to destroy our environment. The second week, I talked about the water of life. I shared about how we use water for drinking, working, cleansing, recreation, and traveling. It is estimated that each person in the United States uses 80 to 100 gallons of water every day for what we consider basic needs. That's a lot of water. As vital as water is, we also pollute our rivers and our lakes and our oceans, and we divert water from areas that really need it. Not only are we directly impacted by our actions, but all of nature suffers from our misuse and greed. And, of course, the biggest waste, the biggest joke on humanity is the use of bottled water. And if you want to know what I'm talking about, go back and listen to the talk. Last week, Reverend Cynthia talked about all creatures, great and small. The same intelligence that created the stars and the planets and the galaxies also created all of life here on planet Earth. So this week we wrap everything up with the topic, naturally divine, which begs the question, what makes humans behave the way they do? I really want to know. Is it our genes that decide if we become a teacher or a musician or even a minister, right? Are we predestined to a particular life, as some believe, or do we determine our destiny as others believe? These are all great questions, but the truth is I want to start with some facts. The modern humans, or Homo sapiens sapiens, emerged from the dry savannas of East Africa just over 100 years ago and began a migration that continues today. 100,000 years. Did I say 100? Oh, wow. Well, maybe it was. $100,000 years ago. See, what I love about this community is y'all won't let me get away with anything. And it continues today, okay? The earliest direct human ancestors had an advantage over other primates because they could walk on two legs, which left their hands free, like mine are right now. Starting around 4 million years ago, these early proto-humans began making simple tools which allowed them to butcher game and carry it away from where it was killed more easily, which actually was an advantage over other primates. By the time modern humans emerged, these tools were much more complex. As modern humans emerged, the one thing that began setting them apart from other animals, complex language. The ability to create sounds that represented not just objects, but also concepts. Evidence from caves in Europe, the Middle East, and the Far East show that as early as 40,000 years ago, humans were asking questions about what it means to be human. And evidence from burials suggests that there was a belief that some part of the person continues after death. This ability to express complex ideas meant we became storytellers, able to weave together common narratives about who we are and how we should live. And from this point on, the pace of change was electrifying. 12,000 years ago, we learned how to domesticate plants and other animals for food. And we're able to settle in one place. Settled communities required rules for behavior, and early cultures were born. This led to asking more questions about who we are. What is the best way to live? What is a good life? What does it mean to be human? Questions which have been asked by cultures around the world now for centuries. How we respond to these questions influenced local culture, religion, and governmental structures. The science and industrial revolution led to advances that allowed humans to live longer, but at a cost. Increased pollution and living in denser communities allowed disease to spread much faster. When the digital revolution began only 50 years ago, the world shrank. We became a global village. Our hopes and our dreams converted into an infinite stream of ones and zeros echoing throughout cyberspace. Today, we stand astride the world as a god, both with the power to destroy our own planet and the power to create life. I want you to think about this for a minute. As Louise said at the beginning of the month, with the power to destroy our planet. So here's the deal. I think that over time, the idea of being human will continue to mean many different things. There is, and there has never been, just one answer. But surely one thing it ought to involve today is the ability to recognize that the question itself is a problem. We humans are very self-focused. We tend to think that being human is somehow very special and important. So we ask about that, what it means to be human, instead of asking perhaps what it means to be an elephant or a pig or a bird. And this failure of curiosity and wonder is part of a larger ethical problem. The question, what it is to be human, is not just narcissistic. It involves a lack of willingness to really look at our self-importance and unearned advantages. Advantages that have been used to dominate and exploit. And we don't recognize this because our self-importance is so complete. Martha C. Nussbaum, a modern-day philosopher, writes, "The world truly needs an ethical revolution, a consciousness-raising movement of truly international proportions. But this revolution is impeded by the navel-gazing that is typically involved in asking, what is it to be human?" So I guess what I'm asking us to do today is to rekindle and to extend our sense of wonder by maybe asking, what is it to be a whale? And then let's go observe whales as best we can and read the thrilling research of scientists who have studied them for years. Let's ask about elephants. And if we can't go see elephants in their natural habitat, let's watch films of elephants simply living their lives, exhibiting communal devotion to one another, compassion, grief, and a host of other complex emotions that we humans tend to believe belong to only us. In Science of Mind, we believe and we teach that there is that within us which partakes of the nature of the divine being. Thus we are divine. And this is an inherent quality in all of us, but is not always acknowledged, felt, or consciously realized, that it not only dwells in us, but as every living thing. And we as humans, in order to remind ourselves of our own divinity, must consciously engage in a spiritual practice of knowledge and truth-seeking, and consistently practice it in our lives if we want to understand our true nature. As Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith said, God is not coming down to fix anything. The presence of God sent us to absolutely represent its intelligence, love, resourcefulness, innovativeness, beauty, and spiritual power, so that we will be the vibrational panacea, the vibrational antidote, the vibrational solution to everything that we are facing at this particular time in human history. So let me leave you with this. Let's make a commitment, all of us. Let's make a commitment to put aside the narcissism involved in asking only about ourselves. Let's each and every one of us strive for a new era in which being human means being concerned with the other species that try to inhabit our world. In which being human means that we are good stewards of our environment. As the Dalai Lama said, it is our collective and individual responsibility to preserve and tend to the world in which we all live. In which being human means we surrender our divisiveness and separation, and we work together to create a world that works for everyone and all of creation. In which being human means we never again have to ask the question, what does it mean to be human? Because all of our choices and the actions we take from this moment on are from love and the knowingness that we have been given something beautiful and eternal, our own divine nature. Let's go into prayer. Standing in the power and the presence of the divine, as the divine. Knowing and claiming right here and right now that there is only one power and one presence, creating out of itself, never diminished or destroyed by its creation. Knowing that that creation, the one source of all things, showing up from the invisible to the visible, showing up as love, as joy, as order, as peace and power, and all of these things manifesting itself in and through and as all of life, life as we know it and life as we don't know it, life that is all around us, closer than our very heartbeat. This breath that we take, the one breathing us as the many expressions of the one, I know this power and presence as myself, my divine nature, and I know that it is all available to me. So it is from that place of knowingness where I lie upon the altar of truth and speak this word for this community, knowing that all who are within the sound of my voice are the same divine nature, and that all of the love and peace and joy and oneness, all the power and prosperity is available to each and every individual. And that there is no thing that can stand in the way of the power and the presence of the one. And so I know that as my divine essence, my divine nature, right here and right now, as I know this to be the truth of me, I know it is expanding in and through each and every one in this community and far beyond. And that we never have to ask what it means to be human. We simply stand in the power of being human, which is the divine nature of who we are. I know that from this place, from this sanctuary of life, we can expand, and we do expand into that knowingness of the beauty of each and every creature, great and small, of each and every divine being, no matter who they are or where they are on their individual spiritual journey, because there's no separation. We are all in this together. How wonderful to claim and know our essence. How wonderful to know that we are these divine beings, simply here to be that which we are called to be. Love. Love, 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 and more love. Boy, am I grateful for this. So grateful to know the truth. So grateful for this community. So grateful to be in the presence of amazing and wonderful and expansive truth, shining its light in and through all. I am light, I am light, I am light. And so I take these words, releasing this prayer into the perfect universal law, knowing that the law always says yes, it always says yes, it always says yes. Standing in the power of yes, the place of grace. Shalom, hamdalela, ashe, namaste. This prayer is done. I leave it knowing it is so, and so it is.